In this Extra Life video, we're going to be talking about Duet Night Abyss, the recently released anime action role-playing game developed by Pan Studio under Hero Games for PC, Android, and iOS. At first glance, you would think Duet Night Abyss is just another gacha-heavy free-to-play title in the vein of so many other games out there. But that is not the case, as Duet Night Abyss is doing things differently, and all characters and weapons will be obtainable for free without the use of gacha banners. So, if you're tired of getting bad rolls in other games and are looking for something else, perhaps a more friendly free-to-play experience with no gacha, no stamina limits, and a diverse combat system, then Duet Night Abyss might be right up your alley. We'll talk about the story, the gameplay, the combat in this video, also the audio and visual of it, but before we get into it, a big shout out to Duet Night Abyss for sponsoring this video. If you guys like what you see in it and you want to check the game out and see if it's for you, remember it's free to play, you can use our link below to support the channel. So Duet Night Abyss takes place in Atlasia, a fantasy land where magic and machinery coexist, and where humans and magical beings such as fairies and demons roam the earth. The game uses a dual protagonist structure in which players follow two characters from contrasting social backgrounds, both of which you can name, with intersecting narratives. The dual narrative is an interesting form of storytelling, and you'll be following both characters and their journeys across Atlasia to find out how their fates are connected and what ultimately awaits them and their mysterious power. I won't go into too much more detail about the story, as that part you can explore on your own when you play the game, but you get the general concept that you're going to be playing two different characters with two different roles, and they are going to intersect at some point, and you're going to find out what happens in the story when that does. Duet Night Abyss is an action role-playing title featuring open-world elements, allowing players to control multiple characters. Throughout gameplay, each character can equip melee and ranged weapons, swiftly switching between close quarters and long-range attacks during combat. Additionally, players can select two characters as AI companions to assist in battle. The main story will bring the protagonist on a journey across multiple regions with large open areas that you can explore. And while Duet Night Abyss is not a completely open-world experience, each region is quite large and provides ample opportunity for you to explore and find a myriad of enemies to fight and resources for crafting and forging. Exploration is a fun process as well, since you can move quite fast using the various movement options available to you, such as running, dashing, helix leaps, sliding, and chaining them together into a fast, flowing movement to get from one point to another, in addition to using grappling hooks and double jumps. I find the movement in Duet Night Abyss quite fun, and as you're not limited by stamina, you can freely zip and dash your way across the environments and landscape, and while you're in a city, you can climb up to the top of buildings, and this allows for some parkour movement as you explore. During exploration, you will come across various challenges that range from time trials to target practice minigames, and puzzles that can give you rewards such as secret letters and forging materials as well. The interesting thing that Duet Night Abyss does with the RPG aspect of the game is that the main protagonist has stats called impressions that represent what the locals think. These are benefit, morality, wisdom, empathy, and chaos stats, and they are influenced by your dialogue choices. While they do not impact your combat stats, they play a different role during your interactions with NPCs, by giving you a bonus during stat checks. Succeeding a wisdom check may mean you help a grieving mother come to terms with the fact she lost her daughter, or understand a bard's drunken musings of what happened to him, and unlock a related side mission that you can take on. Aside from the main story and missions, players will be able to take on various commissions. These are the equivalent of dailies and weekly missions that would be tied to the stamina system in gacha games, but in Duet Night Abyss, the stamina system has been completely removed, and as such, all commission dungeons can be farmed to your liking without any limitations. The rewards from the commission are directly tied to progression, as it depends on your trial ranking, which is the progression level. The higher the trial ranking, the more difficult commissions you can unlock and in turn gain more rewards. More systems and gameplay features are unlocked as you progress up the trial rankings, giving the incentive to actually progress rather than farm commissions indefinitely. Moving on, we'll be taking a look at the combat, which is an integral aspect of any action role-playing title. Duet Night Abyss has very fast combat gameplay with all characters utilizing a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. While on the surface, the combat can look simple with having a single melee attack that can also be charged for a heavy attack and a ranged attack using your guns, each character has their own specific set of abilities that can be used in combination with your attacks quite fluidly. With the game having 8 melee weapon types ranging from dual short swords to whip blades and 10 ranged weapon types, there are a variety of weapons to try out and figure out which weapons work best with your favorite characters. During both combat and exploration, you can summon AI companions using not only the characters but also the weapons you've unlocked to help you fight, but these will be replaced with actual players if you decide to co-op for your commissions. Each weapon type has their own specific moveset, and you'll quickly find a perfect weapon for a character that goes well with their abilities. For example, in the tutorials section, Barry's fast slashing combat skills works amazingly with the short sword, allowing you to combine the weapon's moveset and her skills into a string of combos that at the same time look flashy and thrilling, while also easily dealing huge amounts of damage. As mentioned earlier, there will not be a gacha system in Duet Night Abyss as the system has been removed. Instead, you'll be able to unlock characters by collecting character shards known as thoughts through the covert commission system, similar to Warframe's way of unlocking Warframes. While thoughts can also be purchased directly in the shop if you choose to do so, no characters are exclusive to the shop only, and every character can be unlocked through gameplay. And while there is the option to buy thoughts in the shop, you can choose to buy only the specific amount necessary or all that is required to unlock a character, and the option will not be locked to set amounts of thoughts. The way that thoughts work is by using a material called a secret letter, which can be obtained from various sources such as rewards for trials or achievements. You can then exchange this material for a character-specific secret letter, which can then be used as a reward modifier to get a chance for the thought to drop for the commission. The weapons in the game also use a similar system, where you'll be able to forge a weapon once you've obtained the blueprint and all required materials instead of a banner system. Once you have everything, you can craft through the forging system at the Lunosmith, which will require a set amount of time for you to wait for the forging process to complete. And although the rewards you gain after completing a commission with a secret letter are still random, you are guaranteed to get a thought of the same character-specific secret letter that you used at the start of the commission. That is to say, you will not get a different character thought than the character you're farming for, leaving no chance of losing a 50-50. Further, regarding the monetization in Duet Night Abyss, so far most of the items the shop offers are purely cosmetic in nature. While the gacha banner system has been removed from both characters and weapons in the game, Duet Night Abyss is not entirely absent of gacha mechanics. Upon opening the shop, you'll be granted what looks like a gacha banner for a character, but in actuality, it's a banner for a skin. Staying true to their word, the monetization and gacha system is mainly for the various skins available for the characters and weapons of the game, and they do not impact the gameplay in any meaningful way, shape, or form. And in the spirit of full disclosure, while there remains the option to buy characters and weapons using premium currency, they are not necessary to progress through the game. You can comfortably progress through the main missions and story just by using the characters and weapons that you've unlocked for free, without being hard-gated by a gear score or a character level requirement as you progress, as long as you're keeping up with the upgrades. The only factor limiting the progress of the story and main mission is the trial rank, which is the equivalent of your account level, and this also levels up according with your story progression, and I did not run into any situations where I had to farm commissions to raise my rank so that I could progress the story. And just one last thing about the monetization of Duet Night Abyss 2 before we move on to other things, and that's that you may have heard us talk about the monetization several times in this video. It's very difficult when we do sponsored videos with these types of games to get a lot of information about monetization from developers, and the simple fact that we've been able to talk about it so much in this video means that there's a lot of transparency around where you would spend money in this free-to-play title, and that the developers are not trying to keep that from you, which I appreciate a lot. And similar to other anime RPGs, you'll be able to upgrade your characters, their skills, and the weapons, and once you've reached a threshold level, you'll need to ascend them to reach a higher tier and repeat the process until you've reached maximum level. Even though this all sounds complex and tedious if you're not used to the system, it is pretty straightforward, and there is also the option to jump directly to the commission that you need to farm the required materials for these upgrades. This is extremely helpful as it forgoes the need to shuffle through numerous menus and lets you jump straight into the mission irrespective of where you are in the game world. And as I mentioned earlier, the story and main mission are predominantly a single-player experience. There is the option to play co-op with friends on various types of commissions. After progression through the game to a certain point, the option for co-op areas unlocks, and then you can begin to see other players roaming around in these areas where you and your friends can take on missions to farm for materials. I did not engage with the co-op functionality during my playtime, unfortunately, but I do suspect that the majority of players will play the game solo, but it is great that there is the option to enjoy the game with your friends or other people if you want, so I applaud that. Regarding the visuals, I find the game to be a vibrant, colorful anime world, and while it may not stand out if you're used to anime RPGs, it presents a unique fantasy setting that leans more into a high fantasy territory with fays and demons, with a hint of sci-fi with guns and robots. And even though at first glance nothing particularly stood out to me, there were more than a few times that the art was breathtaking enough for me to take some screenshots for my desktop wallpaper. With regard to audio, the soundtrack instantly stood out to me from the starting login screen. The background music for each area adds personality to the whole setting, whether you're first meeting the cheerful Lumo, Snow, or getting into a serious situation where you're about to face off against a powerful foe. I played the game with the English voiceover, and while the production quality and line deliveries are amazing, there was something of a disconnect with all the characters sounding British for me personally. That's not to say the voice acting is bad, it's just a personal gripe that I have with the English voiceover, similar to watching anime with an English dub. So that wraps up our video on Duet Night Abyss, which launched just a couple of days ago for PC, Android, and iOS. And if you're looking for a fast-paced anime action RPG, this is definitely a game that you might want to give a try, especially since there are no stamina limits to interfere with your playtime or gacha elements that get in the way of you collecting the characters that you're looking for. Again, a big shout out to Duet Night Abyss for sponsoring this video. If you guys like what you saw in the video and you want to take a chance on the game, you can use our link below to try it out for free and see if it's something that's up your alley. I want to know what you guys think though. For those of you out there who have already tried it out, or maybe you downloaded it from our video and you've been playing it, what do you make of it so far? Let me know in the comments below.